Hey everyone, before this episode begins, I just want to let you know that the episode kind of starts with a bit of a hiccup. We did this conversation over a Zoom meeting, and I got the time zones wrong. So if you're wondering why we're talking about Central Time and Pacific Times,
12:30 Central Standard Time it is then.
well, it worked the first time, I guess. And I guess your laptop is just smarter than mine, I guess.
Oh, really?
I don't know. I'm just making assumptions. Yeah. How are you?
I'm doing okay. It's definitely a very weird feeling right now,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm
Have
okay.
you finished school yet?
Yes, I did. I technically graduated on Sunday.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
How would you describe your final semester?
Prior to COVID-19 or
Sure.
prior to COVID-19, I mean, it was definitely a very chaotic semester.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know if it's similar, but I feel like second semesters are always busier for me. And I had a lot of really big projects I was looking forward to this semester because um, so I was the president of the Music Theater Society, and we put on a lost or rarely produced musical every year. So we did that at the beginning of the semester, which we were fortunate to be able to actually put up. And
Mhm.
then I had an honors project I was working on since October, which we were going to have a performance for that in late March. So that unfortunately got canceled.
Yeah.
So I was a little bummed about that because I was really looking forward to that performance because I
Mhm.
had spent, this entire chunk of time basically writing the script for it. Um,
Was this
but
the Shattered Dolls play?
yeah,
Can I?
so
Yeah, I watched that and oh, I loved it. That was wonderful.
thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, it was a really inspiring project for me. I didn't know I was gonna focus on that when I started my research, but
Mhm.
eventually, based on my experiences, I realized that I really did want to focus on a project that kind of centralized around um, Asian and Asian American women in theater specifically, because I felt like I could speak to that topic as someone who is. And
Mhm.
um, it was interesting to explore because it helped me explore parts of myself that I didn't even realize. It helped me formulate my beliefs. And then I got to work with three other girls in the department who are also Asian American, and we got a chance to talk about this together.
Mhm.
And that's so encouraging. I think to see a freshman and two sophomores get that excited about this type of work. So
That's fantastic. And what I loved about the play is just it's you know the term story theater, right?
mhm.
Yeah, it just felt very much like story theater and a part of history that, some of us just haven't paid attention to or learned about, which was just great and wonderful to learn about, I think. And you said that you learned about stuff that you didn't know. What was some of the stuff that you discovered about yourself?
Well, I realized that hey, there's not a lot of literature for Asian women in the theater
Oh,
when it
okay,
comes to
great.
that that's being produced on Broadway specifically. It was very challenging to try to find literature to even put together this project just because my focus that I was looking at was so challenging to find. I mean, there's a reason why we only see like 8 hit musicals basically on Broadway that feature Asian American people,
Mhm.
and so it was challenging to find literature to even read to get to the crux of my argument. But that's why I had to really go outside of my normal box and ask for literature that I may not usually pick up. I went to the library and spent numerous, months just basically looking for Asian or Asian American playwrights that I had never even heard of, and read those plays. And it was a great experience to be able to get exposed to all different types of literature. And I realized it's important for me to kind of formulate my beliefs before going out into the real world, as they say, just because I might be faced with those questions. I might be faced with those tough decisions where am I going to accept a role in Miss Saigon? Am I going to accept a role? What do I feel comfortable with as an actor and as a person, versus what do I not feel comfortable with? And I think this project helped me formulate what I do feel comfortable with and what I know crosses the boundaries. Granted, it's definitely a case by case scenario.
Mhm.
It's not going to be like, this is my definite opinion about this and this is how it's going to be for the rest of my life. I think things change as you experience them, and depending on the cases, I may say yes, I may say no, because that's the business, but it's important to stay true to who you are.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Do you think your beliefs about theater have changed during this whole process, you think?
Mm, During the process of my honors project, yes.
Hmm.
And even now, I would say, just because when I first started this project, I thought no one was going to come see my performance. I understand why it interested me because it related to me, and I understand why it interested the other three girls because it was a part of who they were.
Yeah.
But I thought, do people really want to come see this? Do people really want me to talk about kind of these historical aspects of theatrical history that has been formulated in prejudice and racism, and
Hmm.
do people really want me to talk about that and listen to me talking about that, but then also listen to what I have to say as to what I think the answer is to resolve those types of things, or at least an answer.
Hmm.
And so once I put up my performance and I did a Zoom performance for it due to the circumstances, I was surprised by how much positive feedback I heard from people, and not just people from the Asian and Asian American communities. I mean, I had a lot of people that said, "Hey, I watched this and I hadn't even thought about how this would affect you or other Asian American women in the theater, and I learned something from this." And because I was met with that response, it encouraged me, and it only reassured me that the theater really is a place to have those tough discussions, and is really a place to create art around those difficult discussions, because it reaches people, it touches people in different ways, rather than just listening to a lecture or listening to someone talk about it. uh, Seeing a performance and hearing real personal stories from each of these girls, I think, speak more to each of us as an individual, and I think speaks to the human capacity to empathize and feel with the people around you. So it was, yeah, it was pretty remarkable to see that impact, and then also to see Asian American women who would reach out to me that I haven't talked to in a long time and say, "Hey, I'm so happy you did this project because this means a lot to me, and I'm excited to watch it, and I'm excited to formulate my own beliefs based on it, whether that they agree with me or whether they disagree with me." Um, and that was really, really gratifying. I mean, it reassured me that theater is essential. I mean, it
Yeah.
definitely is.
Yeah. Do you have plans to maybe expand it, take it on the road, or produce it to a bigger audience?
Mm, I'm not entirely sure. I mean, it just feels like I wish I could have done a live performance with these girls during
Yeah.
the time, but I know
Yeah.
that wasn't possible. Um, so I'm not sure if I would do more with it, to be honest, because I just finished writing, my 63-page honors thesis, so
You need a break. You need a break.
I'm a little tired of writing right now. Um, but I mean, I think for example, if I wanted to go back to grad school, maybe I would pick it
Mhm.
up and revisit it. But I think regardless, it's out there. My thesis and my performance are archived now in the Illinois Wesleyan Digital Archives, so it's out there. It's for people to see. Um, and I don't think that, even if I don't pick up this project in particular, I think the lessons that I learned from this and my curiosity to continue learning more about this will not change.
It's like the bad joke of like, well, I was gonna produce this play until the pandemic happened.
Right, right.
I've done that joke way too many times, and I've been starting to compare to like the really bad uncle. So I've been told to stop making that
Oh
joke.
no.
Anyway, so the pandemic, this we're still in the mix of it. How are you holding up, you know, emotionally, physically, and all that?
Yeah, it's tough. I'm not gonna lie about that. It's really tough. Um, I think I'm very grateful to be back home
Mhm,
because I was not home for a while, and
mhm,
so it was hard to be away from my family. It was hard to be kind of sitting in my apartment. Although I had my lovely roommate there, it was hard to be sitting there and feel very alone without the support of my family, because I think especially in times like this, you really need your family, or at least some sort of support system.
yeah,
So it's been nice to be at home with them because they've been a huge support system for me. And it's been hard. I mean, this is definitely not the way I wanted the end of my senior year to end.
yeah.
Uh, I was really looking forward to not only my honors project, but I was in the main stage musical that was supposed to go up second semester.
Mhm.
And that was something I was super excited about because there was a lot of my senior classmates that were part of that too. So we were kind of excited to put on our last musical together at Wesleyan, but it didn't happen. So
Yeah.
bummed about all those projects being canceled, but I think the important thing is, you know, my family's healthy. We're safe, and I think it's important that we're taking these steps to keep other families and keep other individuals safe. And um, so, although it's a disappointment, I have nothing really to complain about because I'm very grateful for that.
Mhm.
And I'm just trying to find ways to continue to give myself work to do, especially now that I'm an alumni since I
I was
graduated.
gonna say, do you feel weird saying like I went to this school after saying for like the last 4 years? Oh, I go. It feels very
Right.
weird yeah, it feels very weird
Yeah,
to
yeah,
say I went to Columbia.
yeah, absolutely. It doesn't feel real because we didn't walk across the stage in a
Very
way,
true. Very true.
So it doesn't really feel like I'm a graduate, but I know mentally, yes, I am a graduate now, though I wasn't in university. So it is weird because I'm basically, right now, kind of handing off all these traditions to the underclassmen, trying to provide them with as much information as I can to help them through for the next transition, because it's going to be a rough transition coming back to school for all of
Yeah.
them, considering that they don't really get that slow process of going into becoming a leader in all of these different groups, and
Mhm.
having to take on all of that responsibility. They're just kind of shoved into it, and I think a lot of my classmates and I are doing the best we can to keep in contact and tell them about it, but there's only so much we can do over the phone. So
Yeah. Are there plans for a graduation, or you just don't know yet?
my school, I believe it's August 2nd. I want to say, yes, I want
Oh,
to say it's
good.
August 2nd. Decided that they're going to hold a graduation ceremony on August 2nd, and that, they're anticipating that this is going to happen.
Great
So
though.
I know, I mean, we're supposed to get our caps and gowns sent home, and then, we drive there on that day and hopefully can graduate, but I think it's a little early to say whether or not that's going to happen.
Mhm.
However, I'm hopeful. I mean, I'm definitely hopeful that I can see my classmates again and have that experience of walking across the stage at a graduation. But it's the circumstances right now, so it may not be possible.
My brother, his graduation, they scheduled it for July, which just
Oh
feels
wow.
very like okay, we'll see what happens. But
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a shout out to the school districts and all for saying you're going to have a graduation. We're not going to just sweep you under the rug and pretend this didn't
Yeah.
happen. I think it's
Mhm.
great.
Yeah.
So I'm going to play the old man role of what's next for Maya McGowan.
Oh gosh. Um, Yeah, I'm in the process of trying to get a job for this upcoming year. I'm thinking a little bit more long term than I am short term right now. I probably should be thinking a little short term as well. I
Yeah.
just haven't really focused on that.
Hmm.
Um, and then in the meantime, I've been trying to, I don't know, really explore myself as an artist and try to figure out ways that I can improve myself. I mean, I feel like this is a good opportunity, since we're all socially distancing, to really spend time with yourself. Figure out, okay, I don't know about you, but I've spent so many, I mean, these past 2 months, I guess, reminiscing about memories, thinking
Hmm.
back to great memories, also, maybe not so great memories, and thinking about, okay, I've experienced this, I've lived this life, and now what do I do with it? What do I do with it? I mean, for me, I think the only answer is to continue growing, to continue learning, and I want to continue to be a lifelong learner. So, I don't know if you know about this. I'm gonna put a little plug in here.
Please do.
I've been reading The Artist's Way.
Great book.
Have you read this?
I have.
Yes, I'm enjoying it. I think it's I've been meaning to read it and go through the process of it.
Hmm.
I just haven't spent the time, and now that I have this, who knows how much time I have. I have been working on it, and I'm only in week 1 because I just started it. However, it is definitely a very spiritual process for me in a way, because it is taking a look at everything that I've experienced in my life, and finding those creative blocks, but also finding those people and finding those things that continue to motivate me and continue to help me grow. And I think it is important to recognize both of those aspects, and I think it's important to figure out how you can take those lessons that you've learned from your past and continue to move forward and continue to create art with it, because
Hmm.
it is really a great outlet. So I've been reading that. I want to try becoming fluent in Korean,
Ooh.
because I'm not currently fluent. I only know like, basic conversational words, but I
Mhm.
am not fluent in it. But it is something that I'm curious to learn, because it's something that I've wanted to learn for a while. I just haven't spent the time to sit down and learn it. And my especially with this project, and my grandma, she doesn't really speak English that well, so I want to be able to communicate with her and talk to her. And I think because I can't be there physically to, a lot of times when I talk with her, I use my hands a lot. I kind of signal things so that way she understands completely what I'm trying to say. But over the phone, you can't really do that. So yeah, I think it's important for me to learn it and to be able to communicate with her. And so I've got all this time, so why not?
Yeah.
So.
So we currently live in this state where people are starting to turn more angry and more villainous per se, because they want out, they want the economy to open up.
Mhm.
Is it hard? Is it hard? Can you understand of what's happening with our current government, like especially just Illinois, not the Washington government?
Mhm.
Um, but like their 5-step program, do you agree with the 5-step program? But do you also understand why people are so upset?
You want me to talk politics? I see.
I can go get my politics tie on right now if you want.
Um, well, you know what? I think the most important thing that I've always been concerned about is safety, is
Mhm.
people's health and safety. And I do believe that, the Illinois government is doing the best that they can to try to promote that.
Yeah.
And I know that it's a very challenging situation for everyone, because, this is so unlike anything at least I've experienced in my lifetime, but from what I've heard from a lot of my elders, what they've experienced in their lifetime. And it's hard. You're not working. A lot of
Mhm.
people have lost jobs. They're not making money. I mean,
Mhm.
it's definitely a very hard situation. But I think that the government is doing their best to try to find steps and find ways to improve our condition as a state. Um, and I know that it's maybe not, the most fun thing to be a part of. And I understand why people are upset, and I understand why people want to just get back to working. But, I think that there's definitely two sides to every story. And I do think that the government is doing what they can to try to keep us safe. But also, I do understand people's feelings of anger. I mean, I've seen it in many people that are friends close to me. I mean, I've seen how angry they are, and I'm surprised by how angry they are because I've never seen people react this way before. I think this has brought out sides of people that I've never seen,
Mm.
maybe even in myself, honestly. And uh, but I mean, I don't know. I don't really get angry that often, to be honest. I don't really get that angry
I
because
know.
I'm
Sorry,
I
this is how we know each other, don't you?
yes,
I've seen no anger, knock on wood, yet from you.
yes, true, true. I don't like to get angry unless I'm acting, I guess. But um, no, I mean, I don't have really anything to complain because my family is safe and they're healthy, and I think the reason they are healthy is because we've been taking these precautions.
Mhm.
I can't say it'd be the same case if we weren't taking these precautions. If we were working every single day, maybe weren't wearing masks, I don't think people would be as healthy and be as safe. I mean, I think the death rate would definitely be a lot higher if we weren't taking these steps.
Yeah, and I just think I completely agree, and I also get why. And it's funny when I still go to work, and I probably should have done this before. I should have kept a journal of just kept track of like how people are reacting because like every week it changes. Like
Hmm.
last week was very much more positive and more emotionally because they get to go outside, they get to have some things up and up. But like this week, for example, it was a lot more anger of like, what is this 5-step program? What do you mean we're not even close to this phase? But I just think emotionally, I just want to see my friends again, and I wanted to, like you, I want to do the work again. I was gonna start
Yeah.
rehearsals for a play before this all got shut down, and now I
Mhm.
have to wait until whenever we can go right back. So I
Right.
think just emotionally, it's just very hard to keep it together because there are
Right.
days where I want to break down, be like, this is crazy. Let's go back to normal. But I know that
Sure.
we can't.
Yeah, and I think what this experience has taught me is to be just very grateful. I
Yeah.
mean, like, we've never had to experience this, and I think often I live a very busy life. I mean, I'm constantly going from thing to thing
Hmm.
every single day, and I don't really take the time necessarily to stop and say, "Wow, I'm so grateful that I get a chance to go to work today."
Hmm.
I don't usually do that. I
Yeah.
think a lot of times when you're a college student, you wake up and you go, "Oh my gosh, it's 8 a.m. I have to go to class. This is
Hmm.
ridiculous."
Yeah.
But looking at those experiences now, you think, wow, how amazing that I get a chance to wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning and learn about something that I want to have a career in.
Yeah.
It's a very humbling experience, and I think although it is very emotionally taxing and difficult to not be around people, I'm also an extrovert, so I like talking to people,
Yeah.
and I want to do my part in helping keep people safe and keeping people healthy. And I think that I'm doing my part by staying at home and wearing a mask and doing as many of the guidance as I can that the government has been giving me.
Have you started making your own mask or have a creative mask yet?
I don't have a creative mask. I have a here. It's right here on my
Oh, I'm
desk.
going to see it, folks. Ooh.
Yes. So it's just this actually was a gift from my aunt who lives in
Oh.
California. She made this, which was remarkable. I mean, my mom opened it one day and she's like, "Oh my gosh, our your aunt just made us all masks," and
Mhm.
that's pretty great because the ones my mom bought were a little bit tricky to wear for some reason.
How
Like this is a
so?
lot easier because this goes on your ear.
Oh.
But the ones that my mom got like go around your head. There's like two strings that goes vertically. I don't know. It was very confusing. I uh I did not know how to wear that mask properly.
I've never seen that mask
So
before.
yeah, this is a lot easier for me to work with.
Yeah.
Uh,
I got a mustache mask coming my way. I'm very
oh no.
excited. Well, because I wanted to grow a mustache, but then I was like, you know what? Germs can probably get stuck up there. And so I was
Yeah,
like, oh, maybe not. So I found this mask for like $5 on Amazon. I was like, hell yeah.
nice.
Um, so the e-learning, the transition to e-learning, um,
Mhm.
how would you describe that?
was very tricky as a theater student, I would say.
Yes, let's talk about that.
Yeah, so as a senior, I didn't have a lot of classes to take. And, I finished my gen eds really early on in my college career. I was done with my gen ed sophomore year. So I've pretty much been in a conservatory style program since the end of my sophomore year. So this semester, I was taking an acting for camera course.
Ooh.
I was taking a scene study course, which basically we were studying musicals of like princess musicals, and we were studying musicals of the 1920s, and then we were going to put on like a lecture demonstration, very similar to actually kind of what my honors project was styled as.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was in a rapier and dagger course, and I was in a senior seminar that focused on issues in contemporary theater course.
Oh, very cool.
So I would say the one course that probably transitioned very well was my issues in contemporary theater course, because that is very much a discussion-based course. So all we did was, but it's a 3-hour course. So we would spend 3 hours over, I think we used Google Meet. Is that what it's called? Google Meets, Google Chats, whatever it's called. I'm actually more familiar with Zoom, but we use
I would say you're a Zoom fan, just judging by that comment.
Yeah, because I don't know. I don't know what it's called. But we would spend 3 hours discussing, and I was actually auditing that course because that is not a course that's required for me. But I just love social justice courses, so I really wanted to take it, and I did, and it was really cool to see all of their projects that they were able to translate to online, and a lot of their end of the year projects worked out. But things like rapier and dagger,
as I say, all my combat friends, they're reaching out. They're like same.
We did finger fighting. That's what we did for e-learning. So basically, the instructor
please show me.
The instructor would record a phrase, and then we'd get up, and then we'd like pretend like this was the rapier and this was the dagger, and then we'd, like do the footwork and do the sword work with just our fingers. And I understand why we did it. I understand, it was a way to kind of get the footwork and get the combat work in there, but I felt very ridiculous doing that, I will say.
Oh yeah.
So it was tough because the whole point of the course was you could get certified at the end of it. And I took this course last year, except with a single sword weapon, and I'm certified in that. And so I wanted to be certified in another weapon, but because we couldn't take that test and we didn't have that in-person training, we couldn't do it anymore. So that was a bummer, because that was the whole point for me to take the course, was to try to get certified. So, that didn't really transition well. My acting for camera course turned it into kind of like a monologue workshop, which was helpful, but also, I know how to act in front of the camera. Maybe how to act specifically, but I don't know the specifics of working with a on-camera set, in terms of how that process works, because we only got really one chance to do that. So that was, I would definitely like to take more classes in that, because I don't know too much about it still. And then my scene study course turned into a guest course. So it was our instructor brought in a lot of alumni to kind of just talk about their paths and talk about, what they think can help us as seniors. And it's also a junior class as well, to help the juniors and seniors. So that was a fun class, but it certainly was not scene study. We completely
it was a seminar.
scratched scene study.
Yeah.
So all of my courses really were able to find modifications that worked, but, did I actually get those courses? No, not really. But people did the best that they could, and it's hard to do any sort of practical on-hands learning over a computer, because you can't really. And a lot of people, I'm fortunate to have a place to go home to and a place to have Wi-Fi and a computer to use, but not everyone has that. And it's tough to tell families and students that don't have these things, hey, this is the only way you can learn, really. So yeah.
I was really hoping when you said finger fighting, it was like the camera, and we're just doing this the entire time.
No, that would be quite funny though.
That would be quite funny. But I mean, like my acting class, it turned into just 3 assignments and that's it. Like I only saw my teacher last week for 15 minutes. And like
Wow.
he hasn't done a Zoom meeting. He's given out like some audio lessons, but he's like, I'm not expecting you guys to do them. Here, do a paper. Here are these 2 monologues I want you to memorize,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it. And this is my last acting class. I'm like, wow, I'm getting nothing
Yeah.
out of
Yeah.
this. So it's hard. No, I completely agree. But it's also nice to see human faces over again, because this is like the only time besides going to work I can see people who I enjoy seeing.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, thank God I can see human faces again.
Uh-huh.
Um, yeah, was it hard? So how do you remember the day where your teachers announced, or were you in class when they announced saying we're going to transition to online?
Well, okay, so I remember specifically the day when my university decided to extend the spring break and potentially start transitioning to online learning. It was my roommate and I, we were on spring break currently, and we were actually in Chicago. We were staying with
Oh,
a couple of alumni because we wanted to go to Chicago. It was a chance for us to kind of explore that market and see if that was a place that maybe we wanted to move to. So we were hoping to see theater, or at least spend some time around the area to get a sense of Chicago. Because I mean, I'm from a suburb of Chicago, so I don't really know what it's like to
yeah.
live in Chicago. Um, but yeah, so I remember we had just gotten back from spending the day in Andersonville, which is a very nice
It
town, I will say.
is. It's a very nice town.
It was very nice. We went to go get some Swedish pancakes at a Swedish restaurant. We went to it's a very Swedish town, so
Yeah, no, yeah.
the Swedish National History Museum. We went there, visited the gift shop. I mean, we went to all the little stores, and then we got back to my friend's apartment, and my roommate and I were sitting on the couch, and that's when we got the email that said we are going to extend spring break due to COVID-19 and potentially transition to online learning. We are expected to return to campus on this date, but it is not for certain. And I remember, I mean, that was the day basically where it seemed like everything then just shut down that day. And I was with, 3 other individuals who lived there who were theater artists, and they're freelance theater artists. And so they were incredibly concerned because if everything was closing down, if their jobs were closing down, theater was no longer going to be able to be produced, performed, then they're out of a job.
Mhm.
And they're freelance theater people, so they're not making much of an income from another area because they're really focusing on trying to be their own theater artist. So I had a lot of friends that were very concerned, and my roommate and I were concerned, of course, from the end of our senior year, but I think it was a little bit more shocking to see how much it affected our friends and how much uh, they were concerned about losing their jobs. And that was something that was bigger than my roommate and I could think of, because that's just not where we're at in our lives.
Mhm.
But yeah, it was a scary moment. We remember we went over to another alumni's apartment later that night, and we were just playing board games and hanging out and talking. And I didn't really know a lot of those people, but listening to them talk, they talked about how scared they were, how scared that the theater industry was going to change completely after
Yeah.
this. Which, I mean, I think it does. Theater is a reflection of the time, and of course, it's going to change with this. Um, and I don't know how long it's going to be until people feel comfortable and safe to be able to sit in a theater next to someone and watch a show. I mean, do seats have to be 6 feet apart? If that's the case, you're going to have to remove a lot of seats out of theaters, and theaters make money off of selling those seats. So
Mhm.
there's just a lot of unanswered questions that I think in the moment, it was just, we were all scared. We were all scared because this was something we chose to do. And it was our dream, our career, our passion to do this. And we already knew it was going to be a risky industry, but we didn't know how theater, like the potential that it could even disappear was kind of a fear in our minds. And so we were just scared. A lot of us were very scared, and we didn't know what to do, and there was nothing really to do except wait and see what happens. So that's really what I remember.
Yeah, but I think the appetite for theater, whenever it does come back, is just going to be huge. I think eventually people are going to want to see a show, and I think I said before, like, theater is just escapism for some people. It may hit too close to home sometimes, depending on the show. But sometimes it's just nice to escape for a few hours to see live theater.
Yeah.
But
And I don't know if you watched this, but there is a really great interview with the artistic director of the Guthrie Theater that was put
I
out
am not.
yesterday. I recommend watching it. I think he said a lot of very important things. You know, he talked about how he wasn't worried that theater was going to disappear. You know, it's been around for centuries. It's not going to disappear. And it was really inspiring to hear him talk about it because, you know, he talked about how much theater is really a communal place, and people have a craving to gather with people in one place to experience, you know, something together. And I think that's very true, whether that's the theater, whether that's, you know, for some people that's a sporting game. To see us, you know, a big game is a very communal experience, a very and for some people that's church. That's, you know, there's a lot of aspects that require communal gatherings of people to come together to experience something that is, you know, spiritual in a way, whether that's through religion or through art or through, you know, I use spiritual as an overall sense of a term.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I agree with him. I agree with him completely. I think that people will crave theater once this is over. I think it will be a while. I think there will be a transition, but I don't think theater is going to disappear, because he even talks about, he's like, we have a name for that. It's called film and television. Film and television is you acting on camera, and that's theater is very different from film and television. And so and I think it's necessary in our lives. I mean, it's interesting to think that a creative outlet could be necessary, but it really is. I mean, to the human experience, it really is.
Yeah. And I just can't wait to see that first show and just see the energy in the audience, whatever kind of energy that's going to be, whether it is very thrilling, very optimistic, very cautious. I'm just very curious to sit in a theater and just see what the energy is going to be like. I think it's really fascinating.
I hope playwrights are having, like, you know, so much fun with the situation. To be able to write
we're going to go on this streak of just pandemic plays because of this. I hope you know that. Like Contagion 2, Contagion 3, Contagion 4, and Outbreak 5 or something.
Yeah. I mean, especially because this is a global issue. This is not just a national issue. This is a global issue. And so, I mean, to see how this has affected areas of the world, it's crazy to think about it. And I guess I'm going to get back into politics a little bit here, but
go for it.
It's hard because people talk about how it is really kind of like an economic disease. You know, you see people that are of less fortunate circumstances that, you know, maybe don't have a home where they can socially distance. You know, if their house is only this far apart from each other in one room, then people can't socially distance. If someone's already sick, everyone's going to get sick. I mean, it is very sad to say that it is true. I mean, it's definitely true for people that are in low income and people that are in poverty. This is affecting them in ways that is so hard to hear about, and it just makes you want to, you know, try to find ways to help those people. And so it's interesting to see how this has affected different parts of the world depending on, you know, their kind of their economic stance. And I I can only hope that we would try to find ways to help those people and help those individuals. And it's hard because you know, you're trying to help yourself as well. You're trying to help yourself and help the people that you're governing first, but also at the same time, it is a global issue. So it's something that everyone's going through, and everyone needs that support, and everyone needs as yeah, I mean, everyone needs that community just as much as we do.
Mm-hmm. I forgot, were you someone who talks about a lot about politics?
I
mean, I don't think we've ever talked about politics before, so I think this is interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends. I think it depends on the context of the conversation. I feel like because, you know, most of our conversations have been work related since we worked at Banner together. You know,
Shout out Banner.
We didn't really get into politics much. It wasn't really
No.
a place for politics, I will say. You know, you're taking care of kids.
Yeah. Can I tell this Banner story about how, I think you know the story, how we were driving back to work because we had to go back for a meeting or something that night. And so we were on a bus together because that's how we met. We dropped off the kids, sorry. And then we drove to camp. And I think I remember us and then a few other staff members, I think we were really bugging you that day.
Me?
And I think we were, you weren't getting mad. I think you were just getting really annoyed. It was like mom's driving and the kids are in the back causing so much ruckus.
Oh yeah, I do remember this now. Yeah.
And I think you had it was either me or someone else that just was the last straw for you. And what did you say? That's it. Get out of my house. At a red light in your car. And there was like this moment of silence of, huh? What? Did you just confess something to us? And I think it took you a few seconds to be like, oh crap. Oh, I think that was a highlight of the summer for me, was you saying that. I think if that's the only time I've seen you angry, I kind of want to see you angry more than.
That's so funny. I do remember that. I do remember telling you guys that, because then I realized I'm in a car.
You're in a car, unless you're telling something about us that we don't know. even though like we carpool together, so I know where you lived. So unless the house was like a really bad like background drop, and so you just went straight into your car after.
No, that's that. Yeah, I do remember that now. That was a good story. That's a funny story. And I wasn't mad. I was maybe annoyed, maybe frustrated.
I was gonna say annoyed is probably a better answer. It was just mom and the kids, and the kids just acting up. And it didn't help that I was the oldest in the group, and I was being the childish one of the group. So really proves I've not grown at all since.
Oh no, stop it! I just think you were maybe the loudest one at the time, and so
well, I'm tall.
All right, get out of my house.
But you said it like so commanding. It really, like, you meant it. That was even better.
Oh gosh, I don't remember. That's funny.
Before we go, do you have time for a game?
A game? Oh no, games scare me. Yes.
Oh, you're gonna love it. Let me get my Jeff Goldblum glasses on. So I know you listen to my other podcast, Are Your Parents Proud of You, all the time. It's your favorite show.
Mm-hmm.
Name a guest.
Name a guest?
Yeah, name a guest. Uh-huh.
I don't know.
This is why I want to have you on, so I can just call you out. No.
To be honest, I don't know a lot of your guests. I don't keep up frequently. I'll admit that, but I also don't know your guests as much.
No, you're all good. I just wanted to give you a hard time, but anyway. Okay. So because I think that was also the favorite thing I've done with when we worked together, was just giving
Oh
you a hard
no.
time all the time. Um, so this is a game I do call it's time. It's called Time for Two, where I give you 2 minutes on the clock, and it's just a series of just random icebreaker questions.
Okay.
There is no right or wrong answers. I am just curious to see your opinions.
Okay.
So,
Is it
all
gonna be
right.
held against me?
For now, no. But who knows in a couple hours? I'd be like, hey, that was a funny answer.
Okay, okay.
Okay,
Okay.
you ready?
Yes.
3, 2, 1, go. Favorite song of choice.
Gravity by Sarah Bareilles.
What part of the human face is your favorite?
Ice.
What's something you've tried that you never ever try again?
Uh, Buffalo. Eating buffalo. I don't like it.
Oh, great. Would you rather have unlimited sushi or unlimited tacos for life?
Oh, tacos.
Are you a fan of Taco Tuesday?
Yes.
Do you follow the meme Taco Tuesday?
I do not. I'm not a big meme person, but I would relate to it because I do like tacos.
Great. Nail polish color of choice.
Uh, Light pink.
The best part of waking up is
Fudge is in your cup.
I love the little country twang you put on that.
Yeah, I tried
Oh,
to sing the jingle, but that's the first thing that I thought of.
what movie would be greatly improved if it was made into a musical?
Get smart.
Yeah, that's wait, you like that movie?
I love that movie.
Oh, that's fantastic. I gotta rewatch it. That. Um, dogs or cats?
Cats.
Brendan or Brandon?
Brandon? I have a cousin
Good
named
answer.
Brandon.
Is a DJ just someone who's good at iTunes?
Wait, what did you just say?
Is a DJ just someone who's good at iTunes?
No.
Deal, deal or no deal?
Deal.
Fruits or veggies?
Fruits.
Typical bedtime?
Like the time, the
Yeah.
actual time. Oh gosh. 1:30, we'll say.
Okay. Are you smarter than a fifth grader?
I hope so.
Left Twix or right Twix?
Right.
What
I'm not
Disney film? What Disney film best describes your life?
oh gosh. Disney film best describes my life. I really don't know. Disney film. Mm, Mulan.
Okay, and that's how we end it.
Oh, great.
Yes, it's a hard hitting question. I will give you that.
It is because there are many Disney films now.
Yeah.
So uh, yeah.
Mine was Rescuers Down Under, but it changes.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen that one.
Underrated gem. Highly recommend. 5 out of 5 mice.
Nice.
Nice. So Maya, I can't imagine another BFA musical theater major student I want to talk to right now during a pandemic. So thank you for taking some time and coming on into the program. I
Of
had a lot of
course.
fun.
Yeah,
Um,
do.
Hey everyone, thanks again for listening to this episode of You Have a Minute, a daily isolated podcast. My thanks to Maya McGowan for coming on the show and spending some time to talk with me. I've known her for a couple years now, and it's really cool. It's really cool when a fellow artist gets to see another artist grow, and I get to watch her grow as an artist and as a person. It's just really cool to watch and see and hear. Yeah, she's wonderful. And yes, I loved to tease her when we were working at the summer camp a couple years ago. Great fun. So if you could tell, the last 2 episodes that I did it over a Zoom meeting, and I might kind of stick with it, depending on the circumstances.
I'm just getting better audio, and I think the conversation is a little bit easier to follow, I think. And plus, the length can go anywhere. So, going forward with the limited episodes I'm doing weekly, I might just put it together. So, instead of like a 15-minute conversation, you might get a 30 or 40-minute conversation. Like this one is about 51 minutes, which is pretty cool. So, be on the lookout for that. As well, so next week might be another week where limited episodes are going to happen because of the finals. So I'll try to get maybe a episode out before I take the tests. But if I have to study, I have to study. So don't hold your breath if nothing comes out to the end of the week where I know I have a lot of free time, because I probably will not. So, on that note, wear a mask, wash your hands, isolate yourselves when you need to. Let's keep flattening this curve, and I will see you guys later. Also, happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for the work you have done for your children and your loved ones. Thank you, Mom, who is probably who is upstairs when I'm recording this. Love you, and I will talk to you guys later.